But honestly, put this on as a podcast. I'll probably put this part in the very beginning of the video. Put this video in the background as a podcast, okay? Because there is so much going on. I'm talking about so many different topics that... Where have you been all my life? All my life. I've been looking for you. I realize nothing else will satisfy me. I'm so glad I found you. Now that I'm changed, no one can keep me away from you. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Y'all, let me take these glasses off and see y'all. Let me see y'all. It has been a minute. It's been like 525,600 minutes. It has been like, I think 2 months since my last upload. It's been a while. We're just gonna talk about some things and we'll get to the main point of this video. This is just for fun. I am bored. It is a Wednesday afternoon. I have a lot of time to come before CrossFit tonight. So, here we are. Okay, well anyway, let's just jump into it. Let's get into it. So, this is gonna be a get ready with me because look what I've got! We have the Jackia, Aina, and Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. Look, first of all, I know you see it. I bought this a few days ago because I was like, you gotta support Auntie Jackie, and not got to, but the where she has come from in terms of her career with YouTube and being a makeup artist and a social media influencer to where she is now, and the brand that she's built and the products that she has. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, we have LeBron's too. I'm using that too. I'm using a lot of Jackie today. We gonna keep her in the mix today. Anyway, it's just awesome to see where she's come from little Pumpkin Power 5 to Jackie out today. Now she engaged. If you do, ooh, excuse me. Let me burping all over the place. I just ate lunch, I'm sorry. Now she's engaged to Dennis, Uncle Dennis and Auntie Jackie. I'm just gonna chit chat with y'all and try out her palette and see how it feels. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Anyway, first, we're using the Milk Makeup's Hydro Grip Primer. I actually got this in gratis at Sephora, so I paid $3.99 for this. This is also kind of an update of like what I would do. I hate to use the word full glam, but that's what it is. But obviously, not obviously, I will say, and this actually segues me to another conversation. I was gonna say this is what I would do for a really nice, like full beat, but like a masculine vibe, which brings me to a point of context with a Twitter thread that I saw yesterday, actually after I left the gym. And basically what it was talking about is toxic masculinity and how we perform masculinity and how that aligns with the patriarchy. But then it was also talking about cisgender men who perform the aesthetic of a homosexual man, but sexually are heterosexual. Does that make sense? They were basically, it's like the Instagram guys, and they had a list too. They were talking about Flashman Wade, that model. They were talking about some other people, something Devin. This guy Devin. Anyway, I'll link it in the description box so you guys can read that thread. But basically, what it is how all that is happening now with patriarchy and how masculinity is performing itself. I'm just taking some the medium deep powder from Laura Mercier to kind of set my face. I'm also a part of like the Combo Oily campaign, you know, so we gotta mask all that oiliness. But what they were talking about is how patriarchy, performative masculinity, how it is changing to align itself with an aesthetic that formerly was only mostly attributed to people who were metrosexual, quote unquote, or homosexual, right? And so now we have this space where men are trying to find ways to almost market themselves, especially with social media, in a way that not only attracts women, because obviously that's what their main target is, but not just men, not just straight men in terms of like wanting to be like them, but just men in general. But what's interesting about that is the way that they do that is by having almost like a sexual ambiguity in their posts, but every so often they'll have a post with their girlfriend or their fiance or their wife, just to let you know that yes, they are indeed a straight man. But 9 out of 10 of their posts on their Instagram, you won't even see a mention of their wife or the fact, or it won't even have an explicit sexuality that confirms or denies that they're straight. Check any of your Fitstagram guys that you will follow, like RBN Fitness. He's a guy that definitely, I will say, uses the gay aesthetic, or at least that type of posting when it comes to Instagram and IG, to get traction and to get clicks and likes and followers, but doesn't necessarily do anything that furthers the conversation about LGBT rights and, you know, acceptability and all that stuff, right? So that was just an interesting thing that I came across, and it made me think about even how I perform my masculinity as a gay man, especially as a gay black man, and what that actually means. Yeah, so it was just an interesting conversation. I hope y'all look at it if you want to, or if you guys want to discuss in the comments below. Let's discuss. Anyway, moving on past that. So we're just setting. Let me see if this looks. Yeah, you're just kind of creating a nice, fresh base to put everything on top of this for your face. But yeah, what's happened? So, I graduated college. I got my master's degree in music performance, instrumental performance specifically. So now I have a master's of music. That's kind of nice to say. I have a master's of music. I guess we'll just use the rest of this powder, why not? Currently do not have a full-time job, but I'm also not dying from crippling debt. Actually, that's a lie. Crying from crippling debt, but I am not in a place where I am begging for coins on the streets. So in the grand scheme of life, I'm pretty thankful for where I am right now. I'm not entirely worried. There were moments the last month where I was definitely in arrears because of just the way my money's set up right now. It wasn't good. Okay, now what we're gonna do is just gonna take some matchsticks and go in and kind of just get our complexion together. Interesting enough, I was watching Rihanna's like beauty talk that she had in Dubai with Hector Espinal and Priscilla Ono. And Hector was talking about how sometimes he doesn't even use foundation. He'll just go in with the matchsticks to do someone's face. And I'm just like, boy, how did we both know to do the same thing? Like, we just be knowing. But yeah, graduated with my master's, not working full-time, although I do still have 4 part-time jobs. Working back at this high school, Derby High School again, as their assistant drumline coach, which is fun. What else? Still working at the bar, still working at Sephora, still working at the church. Yeah, your boy stay working. Not much new stuff has happened. The only thing that is kind of, oh, I'm such a liar. Okay, so, and then taking almond as my highlight shade and concealing shade for like under eye and everything. Actually, hold on a second. We're gonna do that second. No, wait a minute. We're gonna highlight, we're gonna do everything except for under eye. Under eye, we're actually gonna take a little bit of First Aid Beauty with their concealers just to use a cream instead of this stick. But no, I'm lying because I literally, not literally, but about 3 weeks ago, I just got back from Chicago for their ClickCon convention. Well, ClickCon is the name of it. ClickCon in Chicago. It was really fun. Met lots of cool people. Got to work with really great photographers. Both people who were attending the conference and photographers that were clinicians and were leading the workshops. So it was really cool to work with them as well. I also met really cool model people and just hair and makeup and, you know, backside and front side of the camera people. So it was great overall, just entirely. We're gonna let this cook for a second. We're gonna let that cook. We're gonna let it bake and set the under eye part, but we'll do everything else. But yeah, it was just really fun. It was really fun. It was cool. If you guys follow me on Instagram, which you should, just in Unlock'd, since you know the locks are gone, you will see that there have been many a good photo taken by these photographers. Child, I'm just so thrilled with how a lot of these photos are turning out, because I realize that this is something that I am still an amateur at. I'm still learning how my face works, how my body works, angles, all of that. And so just to have more exposure, but more time to work on that and to work with people who are very understanding of where you are in terms of your ability and what you bring and what you can do. And then being able to figure out what works for you, what don't work. I've learned a lot of what don't work, trust me. But it's just so fun to me, even though it's extremely exhausting. Let me just give y'all a rundown of a typical day. A typical day consisted of maybe like 6 to 7 photo shoots, you know? And because of how early everything started and how many models they needed to get through hair and makeup, the call time, depending on what you were doing that day, was anywhere from 5 in the morning to like 7 or 8, right? And both of the, well no, three of the days I had to get there super early. So like one day I had to get to the hotel by 5:30 in the morning. I had to wake up at the I was staying with my friend, shout outs to Anjana and Meg and Trevor for letting me stay at their apartments, okay? Meg and Trevor are together, if that didn't make sense. Okay, anyway, but yes, so I had to leave the apartment on 2 of the days at like 5. So I had to wake up at like 4:30, call an Uber, ride the Uber. They stay, Megan and Trevor, they stay up in Edgewater, so, you know, nice little like 20-ish minute drive, which, you know what, was low-key really nice because I was working so much during the convention that I didn't even really have a chance to see the city. I only got to see the city the last day of the convention because I ended at like around noon, and then my flight wasn't until 6 o'clock that day, which ended up being much later because of malfunctions with the plane. Oh my goodness. I think it was United. Was it United or Delta? Someone. Their whole situation was just messed up. But anyway, this is not about them. Yeah, so riding in the Uber along along Lakeshore Drive to the Hilton was just so nice. And I mean, I live in Wichita. It's not a big city by any means, but I am a person who really enjoys just the big city life. I like the quiet nights with all of the buildings and the lights, and then I also like the busy and the hustle and bustle of buses and metro lines and subways and people trying to hail a cab and all that stuff. Like for me, that's just so exciting because it's such it has such an air of just everyone doing something and everyone going about their lives and doing stuff. People in Wichita, they drive as if they have nothing to do, and it's not even a Sunday. Like they get mad at traffic on Kellogg, and I'm just like, bro, this is nothing compared to LA or Chicago or anywhere, New York, like nowhere. Like what are you talking about? Traffic what? Traffic who? Where? What? It's just so ridiculous to me. The photo shoots were really cool. One of my favorite photo shoots was actually an after-hours shoot in the South Imperial Suite of the Hilton in Chicago. Y'all, when I say Imperial Suite, they wasn't lying. Was it 2 or 3 bedrooms? Or 1 bedroom and a master bedroom? I think it was 2 bedrooms and a master. No, it was 1 bedroom with a master. And then each bedroom had its own bath, and there was also another bath. But then it had this really amazing, giant living space that overlooked Michigan Avenue and the lake, and you could see the fountain. It was just so dope. And then this was also at nighttime. This was like just after sunset. So, I mean, it was dusk, and you can just see the pretty, like, purple hue of the sky. It was so cool. I was like, I've never stayed in any type of penthouse of nothing, child. We closer to Penty List than Penthouse. But it was just so cool. And then there was a moment when I got to the venue of the shoot, which by the way was like on the 24th floor, I think, of the hotel. So we're pretty high up there. But I had to take a moment and just walk around and like geek out for a second, because I was like, when will I don't even know when I'll ever have this opportunity again, if I'll ever have this opportunity again. So I was just in a moment of geeking out and gratitude and appreciation and gratefulness of that was my reality for that current moment. Like, it was just so cool. Y'all see this? Do you see this? It's ridiculous. This is our rooftop shoot. Last shoot for the trip. Last shoot of ClickCon. I've had a great time, so I might move out here. And then I finally, after the conference, we did another shoot on the rooftop at this loft just south of downtown, but we're able to use Chicago as the backdrop, like the downtown as the backdrop, which was really cool. Those photos came out really nice. Shout out to all the photographers. If any of them watch this, y'all were amazing to work with, very easy, just very understanding of our exhaustion, because we were working from, I don't know, 5 in the morning until, I don't know, like 10 o'clock at night. So lots of hours, but they understood, you know, give the models a little bit of slack, because y'all standing in front. You know what? Let me go on a tangent real quick and a little bit of a rant, because I was telling some people about how hard it is to like do what that was for the time that it was. And people be like, yeah, it must be so hard to model. Yeah, just standing in front of the camera must be so difficult. And I'm like, you try being engaging and interesting in front of people, in front of live people for 3 hours, or like, 3 hours straight, you know, no breaks. It's harder than you would think it is, okay? It's much harder than you would think it is. And especially since you're having to create art, you're literally having to be on. Like when people say like on camera, you're on. You can't just shut down or go into, go into autopilot. Like, photographers are wanting to capture something from you. And I have a few photos where you can see I went into autopilot, because I just look completely like I'm not even there. My eyes are just completely like not even engaged with the camera. And so you can tell in those moments where I just was checking out for a moment and was having a little bit of a recess in my mind. But anyway, the conference was great. After the conference, I was, who was I messaging? I was messaging George on Instagram, and I think he saw my Instagram and was like, you're in Chicago? And I was like, yeah, I'm in Chicago. He's like, wow. He's like, oh, we're gonna be in Chicago Wednesday, because we have a show on Thursday. And I'm like, what? I'm like, so you mean to tell me we're actually gonna be in the same city for once at the same time? We was both just like, hallelujah, praise Jesus, amen, thank you, God. Because we have been trying to meet each other for a long time. We've been talking on Instagram for at least, I want to say 4 years. Maybe even longer. I feel probably 4 years, around there. I feel like it's been a long time. And so it was just so great. And then I'll insert the video. Well, you've seen it. If you haven't seen it on my Instagram, I will insert the video right now.
Oh, Lord! Wait, go do it.
Wait, what you want me to do? We're going to take a photo real quick.
Okay.
He being too crazy. All right, you ready?
On my light, too.
Y'all, I'm here with George, and he's being the utmost.
Yay!
Just extra. See?
I get to see Justin!
You're the absolute most right now.
Let me tell you. And if this go on YouTube, he's the same way, y'all. He's the same way.
It's probably just gonna go by Instagram.
Instagram stuff. He's the same.
I'm done.
Good people.
I'm done. We gotta get the picture though. Let's get
Okay.
So, okay, the light look good. Okay, wait. Right here.
Okay.
Right here.
You see what I'm like?
He said right here.
You ain't done.
I'm done. I'm so done. Okay. And so as you can see, we was just so geeked out to meet each other. I think George was more geeked out to meet me than I was geeked out to meet him. I don't know. It was just so funny because I got there to the hotel and then I waited in the lobby and he came out the elevator. He was just like, Justin! He's like, I can't believe you're here. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, George, if you don't calm down. But it was so funny. It was so interesting. And one of the things that he said is that he was like, it's so hard to, or he said it was so nice to meet you in person because like you are exactly how you are, like people how they would perceive you to be online, that's how you are in person. Like you are just as you are in your videos. And I'm like, that's great, because I try to be as you know, authentic when the camera is on than when it's not. I remember, what was it, Seb Betrayo actually called me out on it because he said, I knew your personality was in there somewhere. We were just waiting for it to jump out at us. And it's so true. I think for me, it was just harder to be completely authentic about that. But back to George. It was so interesting talking and meeting him finally in person because for people who don't know George, George Huff, originally he's from New Orleans, Louisiana. He lives in Texas right now, I believe Dallas. And he sings background for Jennifer Hudson. And so he was on the same season of American Idol that she was on. Him, her, Fantasia, all them, they was on that same season. And so it was just so cool to meet him. And what was eerie about it was the New Orleans connection, because although we've never met, there was such a brotherly and familial bond. I was like, I feel like I'm talking to like a cousin or my older brother. Well, he is I think 4 or 5 years older than my actual older brother. But I felt like I was just talking to an older brother. It was so like eerie and cool at the same time. It was really cool. George, if you see this, it was really great meeting you. I hope that we can meet each other again and have another lunch. Yeah, we had a really good lunch. Oh my gosh. I just remembered that at lunch we had the most, I won't say disgruntled, but he definitely was begrudgingly working there. There was this waiter at the restaurant. I ain't gonna say the restaurant. I won't put them on blast to make them whatever. Like, people really watch me like that. Like, it's gonna make a difference. Anyway, we were at this Italian restaurant, and like George was like, "Can I get some more water?" And the dude was just like, "Yeah, but no ice or nothing." He's like, "Can we get some ice?" And there was a moment where George was like, "Did I say something?" Because he acted like the way the dude getting the water was kind of on some BS though. He was doing a little bit of the most. Like, he definitely was working, but not like he wanted to be there. Like, he must have got called in. And he just didn't want to be there. That's what happened. I'm sure of it. Anyway, I apologize in advance that this video is going to be very long-winded, but I'm a very long-winded person. And not long-winded for the sake of being long-winded. I like to be detailed and thorough when I tell stories, okay? Y'all know that. You know this. Anyway, so it was really great. We actually walked from the hotel to the place of eating. The restaurant, just, you know, so we could have time to talk and whatever. But it was really cool. We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about religion. We talked about politics. We talked about music. It was just so cool. I don't know. George, you cool. You a cool dude. People, if you've never met George Huff in person and you ever go to a concert or something and have the pleasure of meeting him, talk to him. He is just, as he would say, a fresh of breath air. Okay, that in his words, not mine. He said it, not me. I can't own it. I can't take the credit, or he probably kind of copyrighted, trademarked, for all I know. Okay, so we highlighted, we've concealed. We're going to do a little bit of contouring. This base looks really good though. I'm not mad at this base. Boom, ba-dum, boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, bay. We'll go for a soft contour, so we'll use the color Truffle in the Fenty Beauty matchsticks just to add a soft, subtle contour to my face. But yeah, if you ever, I think that's what's so cool about the internet, is that it brings people together in the best way. You find people that you have similar interests, or you find people who you admire their work and what they do. Then when you actually have the chance to meet, it's like you've already built that rapport. So it's like you've been knowing each other for a minute. So it's like your first physical meeting, but you've already met spiritually. You know, we've already had a heart to heart. So that was just really cool. Probably one of the highlights of that trip, honestly. Okay, we're going for a super subtle contour because I can barely see that. We're not going color tour soprano. We're not gonna color or contour our nose because we black. And as Jackie Aina says, our nose spreads. So we're not gonna contour this. All this loveliness, my Negro nose, we ain't gonna contour that, child. If anything, we're gonna highlight that. But yeah, that was the trip to Chicago. Lovely, great amazing trip. Where else did I go? Ooh, I went to Portland. And I went to Seattle for 6 days. I went hiking in the mountains. Again, check out my IG for the photos of that trip, because that was just so much fun. And that was when my hair was in a whole different style. Yeah, my hair has gone through a little bit of a metamorphosis over the last few months.
Yeah. Feel a little better?
Right.
Cool. Oh! Why are you so scared?
Why are you coming to this one?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What's the other one? Dog.
Try to, what's it called? Right up there.
Let's go.
Okay. Thanks, Trump.
Not my bad.
Want to take a nap?
I will have to agree with my friend Trung that the hair that I had after I cut my locks until July 1st was probably my favorite hairstyle that I've had in my life so far. The locks were cool. I do miss them like once in a blue moon. So like maybe every 28 days. Is that a lunar cycle? That's about as often as I miss my locks. Although I still have them. So once we get this hair grown out, we might do a Taja Call and just throw them on top. You never know. But yeah, it's been interesting. I think I want to grow my hair back and get back to the kind of shortish style, kind of a Chadwick Boseman T'Challa situation, but more on an angular kind of cut. But yeah, the Portland Seattle trip was nice. We went hiking 2 days.
Those are geese. I looked right at the geese.
I do not love hiking, and I don't mean that as that I hate hiking. No, I enjoy it. It was really fun. But I definitely learned to love it even more after going on this trip. Although, oh my gosh, let me tell y'all this story. So Portland, we went to the Multnomah Falls hike, the Multnomah Wakena Falls Trail, which is about 8 miles. It took us about 6 hours to go through it because we were really just taking our time. We were in no rush. We were just hanging out on the mountain, looking at the waterfalls, taking pictures, you know, being real tourists up in the mountains along the Columbia River. But the other hike we did at Rattlesnake's Ledge in Washington, out in Seattle. Well, it's actually like 45 minutes east of Seattle. Anyway, we did that. Y'all, I had an anxiety attack. Minor anxiety attack, probably the first one in my entire life. I did not realize that my agoraphobia, my fear of heights, also more so a fear of falling, but they're very related. I'm not afraid of falling on the floor. I'm afraid of falling from very high places. So that happened, and I just lost my entire shit. Like, we got to the hike. Mind you, I was also hungover this morning, the morning of that hike. I had went with my friend Ryan to Was it the Eagle? Yeah, I went to the Eagle and we danced, had fun. It was an underwear night. It was really cool. They actually offered me a jog there. I should hit them up next time in Seattle and be like, y'all need someone to dance tonight? Cause I will make some money too. Anyway, back to the story of me panicking. I was hungover that morning, and so I was very sluggish going up the trail. It only took about an hour to get to the top of this trail. It was about a 2,000 foot elevation difference between the base and the top of the trail, of this particular trail. But once we got to the top, I could not move. I could not move! I was literally stuck to the floor. I got to the top. There's like this giant crevasse in the middle of the top. So I'm like, oh, this ain't safe for children, let alone grown people. Ooh, so there was that. And then it like slants down and you can see the lake at the bottom. And then you look over and there's just this ledge and it's just this drop. And I just got into all these scenarios of either myself falling or my friends falling. My friend Tony was trying to move on a rock and he slipped and his camera, like he dropped his hand with his camera and his camera hit the rock. And I immediately just went like, because I was just so terrified. And then people were like just moving all fat. What I thought was fast. People were like moving fast and I felt like they were being as careful and cautious as they could be. And I'm just like, I'm such an empath and I feel things at such a highly sensitive like vibration that I just either was feeling everyone's anxiety on that mountain or I just was like projecting so much of my own fears onto like any person. Like if any person who I didn't even know would have fallen, I knew that I would have been traumatized by it and that would have been not good. So yes, so at first I was just sitting down and then I started crying. I was so scared I was crying. I literally was in tears. And then I had my hoodie over my face and I was like just shaking and crying. And my friend too, I was like, she's like, do you want to go? I'm like, I'm like, I gotta go. And so I'm like getting up and then I go to the base and I'm like still crying and I'm like breathing heavy. It was such a moment. I didn't realize that I would be that afraid of that particular mountain trail. It was a lesson learned. Anyway, that happened, so, you know, we're not the ones to go to cliffs like that. Not like that. Let's do a brow. We're gonna do a brow. Okay, hold on a second. We're gonna do a brow. We're gonna use the new Fenty Beauty Brow MVP in the color dark brown. I'm not mad at this brow. That looks good. It's so quick. I don't know. I feel like using a styler instead of like an angled brush and a pomade is just a little bit of a quicker method. I don't know why. Just for today, I'm just looking for just a soft brow. Nothing too architectural. We're not trying to build, you know, the St. Louis Gateway Arch. We're not doing all of that today. So let's do it again. Also, does it matter which brow you do first? Like, I used to do my left brow first, and then now all of a sudden I'm on like doing my right brow first. That's not good. Okay, I know they're supposed to be siblings, not twins, but still I'm a perfectionist and okay, that's a little bit better. I appreciate that. Okay, brows are done. Okay, so now we're on to the main event. This is actually the first time that I'm using this palette from Jackia Aina, the lovely Auntie Jackia Aina. What we gonna do? First of all, can we talk about these colors? I'm just gonna do this and fill your entire screen up. Wait a minute. Boom! There we go. There it is. So yeah, so I'm sure you guys have already seen. And if you haven't, well then welcome to the party. But I'm not sure what look we're gonna go for. We can go with something kind of burnt orangey. We can go with something kind of in the purple or the red. We can even do a yellow look. Like, this is a pretty versatile palette, especially for people of the darker skin complexion, which was Jackie's main goal with this, is to create an eyeshadow palette that is for the dark girls, okay, for the dark melanated complected folk. I would not consider myself a dark-skinned person. I'm more of a brown-skinned person. Like Beyonce was saying her song with Wiz Kid and all them folks in St. John. So I don't know. I don't know what I want to do. What I want to do? Why don't we go for kind of a coppery vibe? I'm feeling credit, lituation, and zen. I feel like that's gonna be nice. We might throw a little bit of ginger in there too. I'm feeling like credit, ginger as like a base, lid, crease, and then like outer V, inner corner. Does that make sense? Okay, ginger. We're gonna take As Told by Ginger and pop her in that inner. Oh wait, we have a mirror right here. Look at God. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Ooh, okay. Nice. Ginger's actually darker than I thought it would be. You know why? But that makes sense. It's for the dark-skinned people. So for me, it's probably almost too dark of a lighter inner corner base shade, which makes sense. I'm not mad. Okay, well then we won't even use her. I mean, it adds color, but it's not the color that I need. Okay, so why don't we do this then? Why don't we take Ginger, put her on the outer V of my eye, and then we'll just darken it up with some credit. I don't like these brushes. I'm not familiar with that brush, so it just annoys me. Hold on. Okay, we're gonna use the brush that I knew, which is the Sephora brush. Okay, now back to gingerbread, child. Ginger is dark child. Dark child. I like her. I like her a lot. Ginger, you can come to the party. We give you an invitation. Oh my goodness. So me and my friends, that reminds me of a conversation I had. And I want to ask this question to y'all if you've made it this far in the video. Good on you. My question to y'all is, do you believe, and I kind of have this analogy with people in your life. There are people that you go to the party with, and there are people that you see at the party. And that is just in reference to who you call friends, acquaintances, and I don't know, people you see at work, you know, co-workers, work husbands, work wives, all that jazz. Because at some point, it's like, when you're trying to figure out what you want to do, if you're going on, I don't know, a road trip, going to Ibiza. I don't know why you're going to Ibiza, but if you, ooh, yes, Ginger, come through with the terracotta smoke. Oh my goodness, yes. I love this, I love this, I love this. Absolutely, absolutely love this. I mean, this video isn't so much about the palette, just me giving you guys an update on my life the last few months, but at the same time, this palette is dope. Like the color payoff, first of all, pigmentation. It's a celebration of pigmentation and melanation up in here, that's all I'm saying. We got some high arches, so we gotta make sure the color supports the arch. Ooh, yes, that looks good, okay. Anyway, but yeah, just talking, you know, about friendships and all that stuff, and about people and networks and time, and who you choose to spend your time with and why that's important. Okay, now we're gonna go on with credit right there, that right there. This is dark, I would say burgundy brown, and do the outer V of her eye. I remember Jackie gave us the inspiration of all these different names. I forget what the inspiration for the one with credit was. Did she mean credit like a line of credit? Or did she mean credit like giving someone their props, giving them the recognition and acknowledgement of what they've done? Speaking of recognition and acknowledgement, y'all see that story that's going on right now? There is a lovely beauty influencer who I'll have to link because I forget. Well, no. Her Twitter handle is Worthy, but it's got a V instead of an O for Worthy. And she had the traptorials. Well, she still does traptorials. So, but what's interesting in the last few days is that both Manny MUA, I would say more, is more of the perpetrator here in this situation. And then also Patrick Starr kind of well, Patrick Star will say kind of used her video as inspiration, but didn't credit her in his in the video. But Manny MUA did a direct ass copy, song, fire animations and transitions. Like, it's one thing to be inspired, it's another to do a direct copy, okay? And I just feel like I agree with a lot of the sentiment that a lot of people have been saying on the internet, that when it comes to, and she's even expressed this on Twitter, she deleted a lot of her Instagram posts or her Twitter posts or something, but it has been a trend that when a black person, in this case black women, a black woman, makes something or does something innovative and creative and unique, just like with the girl who made the word fleek. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but anyway, it did. How she came up with that word fleek, and she just did it because that's how she felt that her eyebrows looked that day. But then everyone took it, and then 2-3 years later, we have the word fleek on an H&M t-shirt for $9.99 in the women's section. Tell me, where's her money? Where's her coins? You know, the intellectual property of black and brown people, particularly in this case of black women, is always exploited, capitalized on, without any of that revenue ever going back to the person who originated and created that content. And that's a problem. It's a cultural problem, because there is weight and there's cultural currency in that. And that, I'm gonna say we just as black people, is that we create these things, lingo, slang, culture, music, fashion, language, but just all parts of society and the greater culture at large. This color, by the way, credit, it looks amazing. But then we hardly ever get the credit that we're due when it comes to recognizing the cultural impact that we have in this country. It's so interesting. And it's so sad too, because it's like the girl who created the Traptorials, she expressed of how depressed she had been because she's been doing this for a while. I want to say at least since 2017 or before that. There were articles in many online websites and, you know, really big blogs that ran stories about it and how creative she was and how innovative her tutorials were. But people weren't running to her for brand deals and stuff like they run to the Manny MUAs and the Patrick Stars of the beauty community. And then when those same people who have that clout copy the person who originates this great content and doesn't even shout them out in their video, in their description box, and then wants to later say, well, I've never heard of you, as a fake ass apology when the person calls them out or people in the comment section call them out. It's just so disheartening, because then it's like, what's the point? Which, you know, and I've had this thought with, you know what, this is no longer a YouTube video, this is a podcast. This is just a podcast with video and I'm doing makeup. That's all this is at this point. Thank you for making it all this time. You are the real MVP. But what was I talking about? Oh, it just comes back to what I was thinking about when we of black and brown people, because this happens so often with everything and anything that we do that is just native to us as a people, being innovators and being creatively genius at any type of thing, is I'm like, can we, hold on, this smoke looks bomb, by the way. Good job, Justin. Is that we do a cultural, what's it called? A cultural boycott. Just imagine what this world would be like if the people who contribute so much to the culture, if Latinos, if black and brown people, if we all just decide to not contribute to the cultural canon of what this country is, or even the world at large. Imagine what that is, because that's the cultural currency that we hold. And I wish that sometimes we would get more mad at the fact that we have yet to just withhold our greatness from the people who don't recognize it instead of demanding that people recognize our greatness. These spaces, these unfortunately white and dominated by men, at least on the corporate level. Sure, beauty is, you know, an area that is mostly obviously marketed to and garnered to women, but at the end of the day, the CEOs of these companies are men. Most of them. I mean, obviously there are, you know, lots of brands like Anastasia Beverly Hills, Huda Beauty, Oma Beauty, Juvia's Place that are owned by women. Problematic. But still, like, why are we, it goes back to the conversation like with Malcolm X and like, why are we trying so hard to be accepted by people who created a system that wasn't even for us in the first place? I know I'm going from makeup to broader topics here, but it's just a conversation. It's a thought. It's a thought. It's even back to the performative masculinity and the connection to patriarchy and cisgendered men using a homosexual aesthetic to still market themselves to everyone. You know, why are we putting ourselves in a space where we're having to? What's the word? Why are we trying to prove ourselves to people who don't want to even hear us? You know? But also we're in a system where those are the gatekeepers. We need new gates, we need new buildings, we need new sidewalks, we need everything needs to be new, okay? Because the system right now is broken. We go, just tear it down, just tear it down. Anyway, this smokiness looks great. We're gonna go in now with lituation on the outside of my lid, and then we're gonna take down on the right side, or on the inner corner, anyway. But that was just a thought. I appreciate y'all for coming to my TED Talk. Also, these eyeshadows are so soft. They feel really pretty, like on the brush, like just tapping it, it's nice. Lituation has kind of a nice metallic, but like brown metallic color too. I wonder if this is one of those where you need to like spray your brush to get more of like a foily vibe. I can kind of see it, but I want to see if I know you see it. But I want to see if we just spray a little bit. Sorry. Okay. I just want to see if it works a little. Wait. Kind of, but also like no. Does anyone else get the protein buildup in their inner corners from their eyes when they do makeup? Because I do all the time. It just annoys me because then it messes up with the look. Okay, so we're gonna do lituation on the other side, but I think what I'm actually gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of Viam and Soleil. You know what? That's what we can do. To keep the darkness of lituation, but then just brighten it up a little bit, we'll put Zium on top of it. Well, I can see it in the mirror with the lighting that I can see that it adds a nice glitter foil to my lid. I just wanted it to be a little bit brighter. What else has been happening? What's happening lately? Oh, Normani. Did y'all see Normani's performance at the VMAs? And do we also know who messed up her audio and have they been fired yet? I'm just asking the question. No, let's talk about Normani's performance. First of all, singing. What's interesting about Naomi, I loved her performance. What's interesting, I think, about her is that her style of singing is a lot more huskier and soft, kind of like a pop Sade. And I mean just in how her tone sounds when she sings, you know. It doesn't sound pushed. It's not on the forceful end like a Pink or a Demi Lovato, which actually I feel suits her more because when she's singing, if you're using that much energy when you're dancing and then you're out of breath and you're having to deliver a really strong vocal that is, you know, more on the strident, punchy, and very like piercing kind of tone, then with that it'll be harder to get there because you're so tired from dancing that your live performances will never sound like your studio recordings. That is pretty though. I do like that. I really do like that. Okay. It's giving me the sheen of glimmer that I thought it didn't have, but I guess I just was blind and needed to see. I like that though. Yes. Yes, Ginger. So when Normani went from dancing to singing, it was almost flawless. I would say almost flawless, only because small, minor wardrobe malfunction. You know what I think happened? Because Normani has said in the interviews how nervous she was for the performance, but also excited, but it's her first solo performance. I think she wanted to tie the skirt for her outfit tighter than maybe she thought would be good to rip it off, because she probably didn't want the skirt to come off before the reveal for her majorette dance break in the middle of the song. And so that's why it took that man all the strength of 40 men to pull that skirt off of her. Ooh, that doesn't sound good in a different context. Anyway, but you know what I mean with the performance, right? And then even getting the zipper of the thing or whatever off. But she handled it like a champ because she's a professional and she's done this before. So it was great. Okay, now that we're done with that, we're going to take this lovely copper foily gold here and throw that on the inner corner of my eye. Or of my lid. Not the inner corner, just the inner lid space. Ooh, yes. Glitter looks great. The glitter looks great. We're just gonna see what this does. Ooh, child. Oh, child. Oh my goodness. Oh Lord have mercy. This is such a pretty copper bronze. It almost has a little bit, dare I say, not green, but oof, that's nice. I like that a lot. All right, Jackie, coming through with the golds. Coming through with the foily glitter shadow. Ooh, that's just so pretty. Pretty! Well, at this point, I have nothing else to really talk about to y'all. So, I'm gonna just finish this tutorial and just go through everything. And maybe you'll get a voiceover, maybe you won't. Ooh, wow, y'all, that look pretty! All right, true day! That's what it looks like, it looks pretty! Okay, next we're gonna take Soleil and put that on the intercorner. We're gonna use a tiny little pencil brush. This little guy. I was gonna do LeBron's, but LeBron's going to sit down. LeBron's don't need to clock in today, that's fine. She can stay where she at. Yes, that is gorgeous. Oh man, that just brightens the eyes so much. Such a little detail, but it really does something. That's it then, child, shoot. Thank you, Jackie. We're gonna finish this up with some highlight and then I think we good. Do we need to bronze? Not really. We don't need to bronze much, nothing. But we will do some brow bonage with some LeBron for some eyebrow highlighting. Falling into the bed. Why would we ever do something this bad? Oh, falling into the bed right now. I'ma break you off. Let me give you motivation to stay and give it tonight. You turn around and give you motivation. Yo! I just hold on. Hold the hell on. Can we do the 2 times while we're still recording? Okay. Yo, look at this. Can't tell me nothing, child. You can't tell me nothing about this eye look. We're just gonna get a little bit of Cupid's bow action. A whole lot of Cupid's bow. Damn. Okay, that was a lot. Wow, we looked bronzed and our eyes look bad. I like this so much. That's so cool. Yo, I just got me a new phone too, so this iPhone 10 is doing the most, but in the best way. All right, let's set with some Urban Decay D-Slick because your boy be greasy. And actually, why don't we go in and enhance the beard while we're at it? We'll actually just use another Urban Decay product, their Naked 2 palette, and just go in and fix my beard like we fixed my face. I did a video on this too if you guys want to watch that. Now, if I were a very brave boy, and I use the word boy intentionally here, I would keep this makeup on and I would go to CrossFit and I wouldn't even act as if anything is different. But I am yet at a space in my mind with the people whom I associate at that gym to not necessarily see me in that light, but I don't necessarily care enough to go there with the intention of making, and I don't want to use the word commotion as like it'll cause commotion. I just mean like conversation. Because last Thursday, I showed up in a crop top, and everyone was like, we should get crop tops for the gym. And I was like, this is a lot better than I thought it was going to go down. So that happened. But this is a little bit different than a crop top. Not every man in that gym, I think I'm the only man in that gym that would wear makeup. So different conversation and a different audience, different crowd, you know what I'm saying? You see how that just helps just a little bit, just to define the line of your beard, just a little bit of, I use eyeshadow and an angled brush, but you can use whatever you want to use, honestly, whatever fits the bill, whatever makes you happy. Back streets, back. I hate that song, actually. I hate it because the DJ at the bar that I work plays that almost every Saturday. And it's like, bruh, first of all, Backstreet Boys had more than just one hit song. They have a whole library. Explore it. Second of all, he remixes it with the same beat every time. Every time. He only plays the intro, and then he goes into a weird EDM beat afterwards. It's very reductive and minimalistic, but also not really inspired. But you ain't asked me for that opinion. I just kind of gave it. Moment of ebony excellence. Brought to you by Man Seals. Sometimes your hairline need a little bit of clarity. Some people's hairline look like it needs a little bit more than just clarity. It needs Jesus. But I need you to pray to him, okay? I think this is it. This is the video. We're done. We're done. Like the brows look great. The eye makeup I'm in love with. The blend is great. I love how Credit and Ginger. Ooh. I love how Credit and Ginger interact. I love Zam on top of Credit. It looks really nice. I love how Soleil comes into it. And I also love how Lituation pairs on top of Credit. It looks really nice. I know it's really dark. This is like an evening look. You going out with your man or your boo or your girl, whoever, or however they identify, whoever you going out with, they gonna like this look. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Also, if you made it this far watching this entire video, then you really are a G and just had nothing to do. But honestly, put this on as a podcast. I'll probably put this part in the very beginning of the video. Put this video in the background as a podcast, okay? Because there is so much going on. I'm talking about so many different topics that it really didn't fit itself into one thing. This ain't bad. Let me do a close up of the final finish. This is nice. Man, the quality of this camera too, you can see all of the texture on my face. But this is not bad. I'm not mad at this at all. Focus on me. Focus on me. Alright, let me back it up. Back it up. I'm gonna put some lip balm on real quick. If y'all like this video, give it a thumbs up, you know. If you have any questions or comments, answer those questions that I talked about, you know, friends and about, you know, content creators stealing the creativity of Black women and then not crediting them in their videos. Let's talk about that. There we go. And yeah, I mean, if you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below. If you want to hit me up on any other type of social media, you can do that. I'll be on Instagram, Snapchat a little bit, Tumblr, SoundCloud, all them places. And then of course, subscribe. If you haven't already done that, please do. I encourage you to subscribe. There are new videos on Mondays. Sometimes it's weekly. Sometimes it's whenever I feel like it. But this just happened to be a week that I felt inspired to create something. So you guys get this little video. Which side is it? It's on this side. It's on this side, right? Yeah, it's on this side. Okay, I'm just making sure. So last video, course, the top corner. The other video is in the bottom corner. And click on that subscribe button if you would like to subscribe. And like I said, I'm gonna see y'all when I see y'all. And until then, peace. And keep locked. Bye-bye now.